Remarkable! Incredible! Unbelievable!
Save! And Stock are champions!
Goal! It doesn't get any better than that!
New York Renegades Football Club, with its near-perfect regular season run, has fulfilled one portion of its promise to its supporters regarding a trophy cabinet expansion. Now, the Northeast American North victor, and therefore top seed, begins its process of checking off another pledge, getting its hands on the postseason crown. Standing in its path, though, is Passaic Football Club, a team that managed to squeeze into a top 4 spot in the Northeast American South Conference by a single point. Tonight's quarterfinal matchup will be the ultimate test for the New Jerseyans, who have only had one away win this entire spring, as they huddle, of course, in their light olive green and purplish uniform. Meanwhile, New York Renegades FC and its distinctive orange top blue shorts uniform, accompanied, of course, by orange socks. Behind the camera is Marlon Diaz. I am Sean Cabrera, and you are watching the United Premier Soccer League Premier Division right here on Game in Frame. Of course, this broadcast has also been brought to you by Salt Athletic. Salt Athletic has made the Air Case, the world's freshest, most advanced cleat bag that blocks smell by using antimicrobial technology that makes for odor-free car rides and houses. Salt Athletic is offering the Game in Frame community an exclusive discount, so scan the QR code on your screen to get 10% off and keep it fresh. In the meanwhile, we could go over the full rosters for both these teams. Starting first with Passaic Football Club, coached by Jose Calixto, a New Jersey native. The starting 11 will feature the likes of David Bejerano, alongside Jonathan Calixto, Ali Selick, Alejandro Coacuil, Eric Dlobel, Samuel Epiteme, Daryl Etienne, Cameron Fauberg, Ricardo Mesam, Alejandro Sencion, Lautaro Sosa Mendoza, as well as Jaden Wesley. The rest of the squad, likewise, with Nico Petrone, Javier Diaz, and as we had said, Ricardo Mesam. As the away side will be sporting a 4-2-3-1 formation, alternatively a 4-5-1 variant. Meanwhile, New York Renegades Football Club with a 4-1-4-1 formation coached by Boris Linares. The starting 11 will feature Eric Edwards in goal, Cristian Garcia, Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo, OJ Bedward, Junior Rosero, Milton Campos, Cameron Beal, Dylan Woods, Oscar or Toldo Rivas, Jason Solano Green, and Rodrigo Descalzo. Meanwhile, on the bench we'll see the likes of Giancarlo Perez, Yoyo Alexander, Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, Justin Linares, Francisco or Pacha Flores, Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla, Samuel Cáceres, as well as Matthews Carriel. As all 22 collective starters make their way toward the center of the field, the referees in an all-black uniform, of course. As I believe that's OJ Bedward who's wearing the captain's armband for his side. Normally it's Yoyo Alexander, if not Samuel Cáceres' job to do that. However, considering that they're not in the starting 11 for today, it will be him that wears the captain's armband. And after the completion of the American national anthem, both starting 11s recognize and acknowledge one another in a good act of sportsmanship. The same to be done by the refereeing squad, of course. Since the 2023 fall season, New York Renegades Football Club has been the undeniable top dog in the combined Northeast American Conference. This is the 5th consecutive season in which the Renegades have made a playoff cameo. And needless to say, the locals are hoping that the 5th time's the charm in order to obtain nationwide accolades. Let's recall those numerous interviews, specifically with Coach Boris Linares, as well as president of the club, who has always aspired to obtain that sort of trophy for his team. Meanwhile, Passaic Football Club is looking for the surprise of the season. The number 4 seed of the Southern Subconference is making its first appearance in the Premier Division postseason and will likely be relying on its respectable offense, number 2 in that subconference, by the way, to pull off what would be a historic heist. New York Renegades Football Club accomplished an overall record in the Northeast American North Conference of 9 wins, 0 losses, and 1 tie. Meanwhile, the away side, the opposition, Passaic Football Club, had an overall record of 5 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. So although there's a stark contrast there, the more important matter here would be the home versus away record of these two teams respectively. For New York Renegades Football Club, 4 wins, 0 losses, and 1 tie this season at home. That 1 tie coming against New York Empire FC here on this very same ground. Meanwhile, for Passaic Football Club, 1 win, 3 losses, and 1 tie when it comes to games on the road. Of course, New York Renegades Football Club ready for some UPSL Premier Division action. Passaic Football Club, one more huddle, one more talk. Looking to kickstart some inspiration here. In fact, New York Renegades FC looks like it wants some moments of inspiration as well. And for now, the weather quite pleasant, if not just a little bit humid and warm. There was a heat advisory throughout the whole day, if not for the upcoming days as well here in the metropolitan area surrounding New York City. Here, of course, in Long Island, New York. Here in Central Islip, it's 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Cloudy, still quite warm, however. No sign of rain, thank goodness there. However, with winds, 7-mile-per-hour winds, 18-mile-per-hour gusts, which would be blowing against the Renegades side for now with this camera angle. And we have a healthy-sized crowd here as well. Notably because of the U13, U15, and U19 squads of New York Renegades Football Club winning their respective conference championships in their UPSL competitions. Sebastian Restrepo sends a sign of acknowledgement toward the camera, most likely toward his loved ones as well, supporting him here in the stadium as well as wherever they may be. It's all smiles here in this quarterfinal matchup for now. Both teams ecstatic to be here. New York Renegades FC, perhaps the big favorite, but Passaic Football Club looking to take advantage of that underdog status. As postseason debutant, Passaic FC takes on playoff dynasty New York Renegades FC in this UPSL Northeast American Conference quarterfinal bout here on Game in Frame. Rolled all the way back toward the feet of Daryl Etienne. Lobbing this one forward, O.J. Bedward, who's not only in charge of the ball right now at this moment, but also of donning the captain's armband. The Big 12, as he's dubbed, plays it back toward Eric Edwards. Eric Edwards connects with his fullback on the right-hand side. Immediately a lob toward Rodrigo Descalzo, toward Junior Rosero, inside the penalty area, punched away by the goalkeeper. A somewhat desperate block that works out for Bejarano. Played along the ground. Alejandro Ascension. With a lot of pressure surrounding him, O.J. Bedward allows Christian Garcia to override the control for now. Cameron Beal. Beal, lateral play as Jason Solano Green, the Honduran, playing it toward O.J. Bedward. Back passes here from Milton Campos. Again, a 4-1-4-1 formation for New York Renegades Football Club, which really does complement its lightning-fast counterattacking style, especially when you have Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo as well as Rodrigo Descalzo at the wings. A 4-1-4-1 formation that could quickly transform itself into a 4-3-3 formation, assuming that Milton Campos plays as the holding midfielder. So he has a big role today, as this big lob, in fact, makes its way toward Eric Edwards, who's happy to take the goal kick. Again, Eric Edwards, the starting goalkeeper for New York Renegades Football Club. The backup being Giancarlo Perez. Meanwhile, Christian Garcia with the number 5, Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo with the number 7, Yoyo Alexander with the number 8, Angelo Puerto Quintanilla with the 11, O.J. Bedward, the big 12, naturally. I think we could guess what his number is. Justin Linares with the number 14, the number 15 belonging to Pacha Flores, Junior Rosero with the number 20 on his back, Milton Campos, the number 21, Cameron Beal wearing the number 19 today, Dylan Woods, the 23, Tordo Rivas with the number 24 as Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo makes his way, trying to escape from the pressure of now 2 defenders surrounding him. Arguably 3, however, one had retreated. Back pass toward the Big 12, O.J. Bedward. Continuing, of course, with our full roster here. Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla with the number 25, Jason Solano Green, the number 28, Samuel Cáceres, the number 29, Rodrigo Descalzo with the number 30, and Matthews Carriel with the number 10. Sebastián, with some flair, crossing it with the left foot, and it's blocked for the first corner kick here of the match, leaning, unsurprisingly, of course, toward the New York Renegades. Deflected off the shoulder, if not back, of Alejandro Coaquil. So Sebastián stands over the ball. One big target in the form of Cameron Beal inside the 6-yard box. O.J. Bedward as well, trying to surround that central part. Crossed toward the far post. Still some chaos in there as eventually the New Jerseyans clear it out. Passaic Football Club, for now, on its back foot. David Bejarano with the number 1 on his back. Perhaps being tested here toward his near post. Veers wide. He had it all under control. No need to touch it. No need to parry it. So again, Bejarano wears the number 1 on his back. Jonathan Calixto wears the number 66. Ali Selic with the number 8. Alejandro Coaquil with the number 6. Eric Global with the number 3. Samuel Epitime, I should say, Epitime, wears the number 10. And after Epitime is Daryl Etienne, alphabetically, with the number 4. Cameron Foberg wears the number 2. Ricardo Mesem with the number 11. Javier Diaz with the number 5. Nico Petrone with the number 77. Jaden Wesley with the number 19. Lautaro Sosa Mendoza with the number 80. And Alejandro Ascension with the number 17. Passaic Football Club with its 4-2-3-1 formation. Not too dissimilar from the 4-1-4-1 formation of New York Renegades Football Club that so often transforms itself into a 4-3-3 unit. O.J. Bedward, Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo steering it inward. One strong touch, being immediately pressed by 2, shove in the back. Clear free kick in favor of the orange and blue. That wastes no time playing the ball. Rosero, along the right-hand side it goes. Rosero asking for a back pass. Instead, an ambitious cross toward the far post. Nobody there to connect with it at the end, though it's still a Renegades ball. Passaic, coached by Jose Calixto. New York Renegades Football Club, coached by Boris Linares. who also serves as the president of the club. Played forward by Milton Campos, who has the role today of playing as the holding midfielder. And speaking of these formations, of course, with the 4-2-3-1 formation, a lot of pressure will be put on those two holding / defensive midfielders, especially when you have competition like this in the form of the New York Renegades, who are known for their explosive dynamicism. Simply their dynamic nature is second to none here in the UPSL Northeast American Conference. Blocked there, that pass. However, Passaic, maybe with a slight breakaway here, toward the right wing it goes. Eric Edwards, firm on his goal line, however, kept in play, though not for long. It's batted out for a throw-in for the Renegades. It was Sension who was chasing down that ball. Garcia, the Ecuadorian, connecting with his Colombian teammate. Immediate pressure as well. Here comes Passaic Football Club outside the penalty area, taken away by O.J. Bedward. Ball still in play for the away side. It was Daryl Etienne who kept it in the final third, but with the immense pressure from the orange and blue, the light olive green and purple today, forced to play it back, lobbed upward, O.J. Bedward, asking for the pass from Solano Green. Instead, it goes toward Eric Edwards, the Jamaican goalkeeper, who finished the regular season with a clean sheet as well. A victorious 2-0 result versus Future Soccer Academy. That is here at home. Not ending the entire regular season, of course, on that. Just showing the type of dominance that the Renegades normally have when playing in their familiar Long Island grounds. Campos, unable to fully outsmart his opponent. At the end, his Renegades teammates do help him out. Garcia. Ruiz Restrepo, back to Garcia. Garcia has O.J. Bedward. The Big 12 with a big lob into the final third. Goalkeeper maybe kept busy here as Beal crosses it with his first touch. Sebastian, using the outside part of his foot, crosses it. Descalzo! Goal kick for Passaic Football Club. Descalzo nearly shotgunned his way into the back of the net. Soaring above and soaring wide. Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo with perhaps an assist of the year nominee there, had it gone into the back of the net. Powerfully blasted with the outside part of his foot, curling perfectly wide toward the Argentine forward, who likewise in his last home match in the regular season was the key figure to that victory, converting a penalty himself as well, showing that he does have the composed nerves required in order to play for the Renegades. And composed nerves may be needed here as Eric Edwards is ultimately untested by Passaic's number 3, Eric Global. Maybe a little too courageous with the shot. He did a good job winning the space. Just when it came to the final execution, wasn't really able to scare Eric Edwards. For now, it remains scoreless. Neither goalkeeper with an official save at this moment. Again, let's recall that earlier intervention against Rosero. Rosero never made an attempt to shoot the ball itself. It was more of a hard touch, a hard dribble that forced the goalkeeper into a desperate punch. Almost sideways as well, he executed that. In my book, more of a block than a save. Goalkeeper, regardless, did his job as Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo. Just a little too many steps ahead for that reception. Sension, not wasting any time. Alejandro Sension, the Spanish forward, who grew up playing in the Atlético de Madrid Academy. Atleti itself, of course, enjoying some time here in the United States with its FIFA Club World Cup matches. Played forward, Milton Campos is able to dance his way beyond two for now. Bedouin, Ruiz Restrepo, Sencion, trying to pickpocket the Big 12, unable to do so. Milton Campos toward Beal. Switching sides now as it's completely on the right flank. Rosero asking for the pass. He would be the nearest player, but Descalzo is dispossessed. The Argentine still backtracking, still trying to win back the ball alongside Beal. And instead it's Toldo Rivas that does his job. Rosero back to Toldo. Toldo playing it across. Sebastian now to Garcia. Garcia, first touch, cross! Goal! Descalzo! Another home goal for the Argentine. Garcia with a fabulous assist. Wasting no time. First touches everywhere. Pure chemistry. New York Renegades Football Club finds the initial advantage here in this quarterfinal bout. Quick thinking, quick feet, a perfect combination. 1-0 here against Passaic Football Club. The locals, again, have the upper hand. And I must be honest here, I don't remember the last time the New York Renegades lost a home match when scoring first. If that doesn't show dominance, then I don't know what does. New York Renegades FC 1-0 here. Nothing is impossible, however. Ball goes out of play. Garcia will be taking the throw in. Cristian Garcia, of course, with an assist to his name, having assisted Rodrigo Descalzo, who solely had to poke it into the back of the net. It was more about the positioning than the finishing, if anything. With so much traffic in the way, one has to find oneself's way of weaving in between all those bodies. Speaking of which, New York Renegades Football Club able to do so. Once more in the final third. Quick cross, Rosero just a little too ambitious. Last second deflection, another corner kick here for the Renegades. 1-0 is the scoreline. A grounded cross from Cristian Garcia, the Ecuadorian, connected with his fellow South American, his fellow Argentine teammate, Rodrigo Descalzo. Who finds another consecutive home goal. This is a chipped cross and almost made its way into the upper 90 of the near post, but it was really a nasty, nasty crash. He went perfectly 90 degrees. He won the aerial duel, but his opponent had collided with him. I believe that's Jason Solano Green on the ground, as he got some air mileage on that hop. A very, very nasty crash. And perhaps a little more dire was the landing itself. He had no way of protecting himself. His ribs hitting the hard turf here on Long Island. As Solano Green is still down on the ground, attended to by the training staff here. The fact that he even made contact with the ball in that crowded corner kick was impressive enough. And surely he got the wind knocked right out of him. As eventually he's back up on his own 2 feet, walking on his own accord, maybe just needing to catch his breath. And let's hope that is the case. As a matter of fact, the New York Renegades themselves have been affected by various injuries. Adil Gowani, injured. Jonathan Silveria, a creative Uruguayan forward, injured. And perhaps most notably, the talisman, the leading goal scorer of the UPSL last season, Ramses Renegades, otherwise known as El Toro, the Bull of New York Renegades FC, injured as well. He made a momentary return here at home before getting injured again. However, despite those limitations regarding injuries, the Renegades themselves seem to be hardly affected, again, with the advantage of the scoreline here. Descalzo, Rosero, and Ruiz Restrepo have done a good job of controlling the tempo in the final third. Though for now, it's the defensive third of New York Renegades Football Club that sees some ball time. Assist giver, Cristian Garcia, plays it across. Milton Campos, with a lot of real estate in his own half, marches forward, chips it. Rosero was offside, no doubt. So it's a free kick from about halfway toward the halfway line. Passaic Football Club behind in the scoreline, looking for its second away win of the overall 2025 spring season. This is a relatively new face to the Northeast American South Conference, as Passaic Football Club with Sencion, Alejandro Sencion, the Atletico Academy member. Quick passes into the final third, just on the edge of the penalty area, cleared away by Garcia, who for now may have the highest ratings of the match. That is unofficially, as Sencion tries to win back the ball, but according to the assistant referee, it's a throw-in. That is for the Renegades. Left-footed cross-body lob. Cameron Beal receives a peach of a ball, and that one has a little too much juice behind it. Easy pickings for the netminder in bright green. Beal almost got the final poke there. No time wasting here in the throw-ins. The only pause of this game really coming from that Jason Solano Green injury scare, as Toldo Rivas was surrounded by a party of Passaic players here. Coaquil, trusting Cameron Fauberg's ball-playing abilities. Ali Selick. Back pass toward Bejarano. Left-footed lob over Cristian Garcia. Sencion has a flank available here. OJ Bedward telling Cristian Garcia to move inward. Switch play using the width to its totality. Passaic Football Club looking for an equalizer here in minute 20. Sencion along the ground. Easy clearance for Solano Green. Not too much airtime on that ball either. Sencion able to beat Bedward on that aerial duel. Another one served toward the edge of the 18-yard box. Solano Green. Solano Green still in possession of the ball, asking for a foul. Referee wagging his finger, clearly indicating not a foul. A couple half spins later, he eventually connects with the teammate. Using that left-hand side. Eric Delabel. Delabel not on the same page as his teammate. Goes out of play. I believe that was Jaden Wesley who was looking for the 1-2 combination. One nothing the scoreline. Cristian Garcia asking for the lob. He was making a solid run. He would have otherwise caught the back line by complete surprise. OJ Bedward toward Cristian Garcia. Christian. Back to Bedwern. Edwards. Left-footed pass toward his right center back, Jason Solano Green, who has the big task for now of filling in someone Cáceres' normal starting position. Ruiz Restrepo controlling with his chest. Sebastian dropping the shoulder. A driven cross immediately blocked. Foberg. Astordo Rivas was asking for the foul. Passaic Football Club with the referee's no call advantage here. Ascension, the Spaniard. Some left-footed dribbling, unable to beat Solano Green. Ascension putting the ball back into play, taking the throw-in off the back of Solano Green, trying to waste no time, trying to surprise his opponent. You don't get to see that too often. A bit of a novelty there, completely legal, albeit a bit comedic as well. However, because it resulted in an almost immediate loss of possession, that one goes down as a slightly more silly play. Had it worked out, however, this is where, of course, the dramatic side of soccer comes in. It would have been an absolutely clever play. Unfortunately, though, for Ascension, it's not the latter. No one could applaud him for even attempting to do that in the first place. And speaking of injury scares not too long ago, oh, that's not a good sign. O.J. Bedward is signaling for a substitution. Boris Linares has to make a decision here as to which player will be replacing Solano Green. And one could only imagine it'd be Cáceres. He would be the most obvious answer. A veteran who has started each home match here up until now. That is this season. Solano Green, helped right back up by Ascension as well as the athletic staff of the Renegades. So as Solano Green slowly makes his way most likely toward the sideline, the Renegades will likely have to replace him. I believe I see Cáceres changing from his training gear into the official gear here. Otherwise, Jason Solano Green did his job throughout the entirety of his 24-minute appearance. A good number of sliding challenges, even an attempted shot. Solano Green played to the best of his abilities today. And hopefully, it's nothing too serious here as Cáceres is waiting for the referee's approval to enter. So the locker room leader of New York Renegades FC, playing in yet another home match here. Cáceres, who has experience, of course, playing for various clubs in his long tenured career, most notably for teams such as Independiente in Argentina, and even here in the United States with teams like the New York Cosmos. In fact, it was many moons ago for me in which I had watched Cáceres, of course as a fan back then. I was merely a teenager with my father, watching him play against the Jacksonville Armada there in Coney Island, in what was then called MCU Park, now under a different name. I believe it's Maimonides Park now, due to sponsorship reasons, of course. Though it's funny how life tends to circle back every now and then. Speaking of which, Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo playing it alongside Milton Campos. Campos toward his right-hand side. Dylan Woods was asking for the pass. Speaking of which as well, Christian Garcia. making those far post runs. He has the right idea. The Renegades not willing to take the risk, however. The assistant referee says that should be a throw-in for the home team here. Cáceres. Also an odd sight to see him play without the captain's armband this season. But if there's anyone who could fill in those big shoes, it's the Big 12, O.J. Bedward. Quick 1-2s. Toldo Rivas, Rosero, Ruiz Restrepo, the three big R's, crossed toward the far post. Descalzo! Goal! Goal number 2 for the Argentine. Even exiting the venue to celebrate just a little bit. An extra piece of love from the number 30. Once again, those bang-bang plays from the Renegades resulting in goal. More times often than not, those sorts of sequences end up lethal in favor of the locals. Rodrigo Descalzo with goal number 2 to his name, with goal number 2 for the Renegades. Here in the 28th minute officially. The goal itself scored in the 27th. And it's another moment of Rodrigo Descalzo being at the right place at the right time. There's no need to blast it. There's no need to do anything fancy. He just has to make sure that he's on time, on cue. Rodrigo Descalzo has turned himself into a reliable name here for the Renegades. Edwards being pressed by one olive green jersey. Beal played out wide. Dylan Woods, the Honduran with not a lot of space, eventually lost it. Milton Campos, likewise, backtracking. The same cannot be said for Toldo Rivas, who was involved in that sequence. Again, those three R's heavily involved in the last goal that we had just seen for the 2-0 advantage. It's practically lightning fast. Rivas, Rosero, and Ruiz Restrepo. As Rivas was making sure it wasn't a foul. O.J. Bedward with some off-the-ball dribbling. Eric Edwards, the goalkeeper in all blue for the Renegades. Left-footed lob from Garcia. Should be easy pickings. That is for Passaic Football Club. Of course, Daryl Etienne trusting Bejarano's footwork. Cáceres, the Paraguayan, connecting with Milton Campos, I believe. And it's now with Dylan Woods, another near post cross, another corner kick for New York Renegades FC. So for now, the vanguard of the Renegades, seeing some lightning fast chances, producing some magnificent opportunities. Right-footed cross, chipped toward the central part, eventually knocked away. Bejarano registers his first official save in this match. Just a casual corner kick, very calm. Chipping it toward the central part of the 6-yard box. Bejarano with the reflex dive to keep it a reachable 2-0 game. Passaic Football Club. Beal. Dylan Woods lobbed. Ruiz Restrepo, way too much juice. Somehow the ball gets back to the number 7, Rosero. Well, it almost made its way from Colombian to Colombian, but it's now with the Spaniard, Sencion. Sencion. Stalling for time, stalling for space. Quick interchanging of the ball, Ali Selic. Selic toward Wesley. Jaden Wesley. Selic once more in possession of the ball in the opposition half. The Renegades themselves appear very calm, not only having the 2-goal advantage here. Ascension goes for that ball. Eric Edwards beats him to the race as Ruiz Restrepo receives a throw from his goalkeeper. Bejarano with some good goalkeeping at the end. OJ Bedward is never going to lose that duel. Looking for space. Campos. Cáceres. Cáceres towards the right-hand side. The Paraguayan once more. Sharing the ball, being the, I suppose, common factor here as Rosero is onside. Rosero looking for options. Retreats just a tad with a lot of space. Dylan Woods has a decision to make here. And it's a conservative one toward Milton Campos. Campos. Not a lot of space left. Burning it all almost as Cáceres. Garcia, the Ecuadorian, eventually had the ball poked away from him. He had 1 assist to his name when Rodrigo Descalzo converted his far post cross. Rodrigo Descalzo got himself onto the scoreboard again, having converted, I believe, Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo's cross. Again, it was all about positioning and all about timing. Ruiz Restrepo toward the hands of Bejarano. He got both his palms to it, unable to really keep control. But luckily for him, Sencion was in the right place. Sencion asking for the through pass. Sencion accelerates, only so that his number 10 loses the ball. That was Samuel Epitime, excuse me. Epitime with arguably one of the better chances here for now for Passaic. Had Sencion completely available. That is for a through pass. Milton Campos. Rodrigo Descalzo switching flanks here, was last seen on the right-hand side. In fact, scored both goals from that same side. Now playing on the left wing, filling in the niche left by Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo. Descalzo, Garcia, Sebastián, Milton. Beal likewise getting himself involved. Lateral play, Toldo, who I suppose got the penultimate touch, or at least one of those, as this one almost results in an own goal. Chaotic ricochets, almost going against Passaic Football Club, and that would have been very unfortunate. It's bad enough to have a 2-0 scoreline, but to have a 3-0 scoreline against you due to an own goal situation, that's practically heartbreaking. Cross, this one driven into the 18-yard box. What a goal that is! Merciless, powerful. New York Renegades FC does make it 3-0. Blink and you miss it. Ripping straight into the ball. I'm surprised the net doesn't have more holes in it, or I should say less holes in it. A ripper of a goal. Where did that come from? A thunderous one. It's 3-0 for the Renegades. And what a way to have a 3-goal advantage. Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo now with 2 assists. One from the corner kick spot, one from live play. (3-0) the scoreline. Passaic Football Club at least looking for a silver lining before the halftime whistle, considering that we are less than 9 minutes away. Global versus Campos. The Renegades beaten for now. That 1-2 touch. Global encountered a proactive Cáceres. Of course, tomorrow at high noon, a dramatic duel for the American Premier Soccer League National Final will take place. Ascension crossing it, acrobatic, but off target at the end. Not a bad attempt whatsoever. Almost surprising, Eric Edwards. Of course, that American Premier Soccer League National Final, as aforementioned, will take place tomorrow at noon. And this match will be broadcast exclusively here on Game in Frame, your home for grassroots soccer. So let me correct myself. I had said that Toldo Rivas got the penultimate touch much earlier. I meant to say the pre-anti-penultimate touch, in other words, the 4th to last touch, before that 2-0 scoreboard changer. Sebastian Ruiz Restrepo has some fun with the crowd itself. I'm sure he can afford it. 2 assists to his name. 3-0 the scoreline, Sebastian putting on a show. This is turning into an exhibition from the Colombian. Getting some crowd reactions. He feeds off this. Sebastian pushing it forward. 3 against 1. And eventually the trio of olive green jerseys does win. Rosero winning it back. Toldo Rivas unable to get to it. Goalkeeper chasing it down. This could be 4. It is 4. Toldo Rivas getting his name onto the scoreboard as well. It's fatal miscommunication. And of course, the New York Renegades FC players themselves will always capitalize. You can't afford those mistakes against this club, especially at this stage in the quarterfinal. It's 4-0 for the locals. As I believe a Renegade for a moment was heading to the sideline. And you can see the frustration on the New Jerseyans. We were talking about luck being a factor as well. Right before was 3-0, when that corner kick was converted for the 3-0 scoreline. And here, that sort of mistake will always be fatal. Global. With a 4-goal deficit to surmount, Passaic FC at least looking to avoid a shutout here. Well, that's been a big problem as of late, despite having the second best offense in terms of goal, that is, in the Northeast American South Conference, or sub-conference, depending how you want to look at it. The New Jerseyans have been shut out twice in their last 3 matches. Lancaster FC, of course the first place side of that conference, had shut them out, alongside New Jersey Alliance, the 3rd best team in that conference. And it was a great opportunity for a moment. The ball just escaping Epitime. As for now, Epitime hoping that Global can pressure Eric Edwards into picking up the ball with his own 2 hands. The referee telling Eric Edwards to drop the ball. And that's a good punt as well. A lot of height and a good amount of distance. Sebastian versus Ascension. It's Ascension that wins the battle, but at the cost of losing the war. O.J. Bedward back to Edwards. Speaking of Eric Edwards, known for his cool demeanor, giving away the ball as Wesley picks it off. Wesley with the 1-2 versus Milton Campos on the far hand side. And there's a Renegade down on the ground. I think it was with his landing. There was no contact with the opposition. The New Jerseyans looking for the 4-1 scoreline here, unable to do so. There's still a Renegade down on the ground. The New Jerseyans apparently don't mind the one-man advantage until that very moment. As we'll try to confirm the number here. It did look like from this distance, it was Milton Campos. It looked like the number 21. We, of course, will double check. But even then, when we saw that sequence, that specific New York Renegade had gone down without any contact from the player. In other words, he was trying to beat that one-on-one dribble from the defensive side. But his landing, hopefully, or hopefully not, I should say, awkwardly injured him. Third time here that the athletic staff of New York Renegades Football Club checks out a local player. And this team has just been riddled with injury after injury after injury. So many situations like that. We mentioned earlier, no Adil Gowani, no Jonathan Silveria, no Rances Reneao. And now with no Jason Solano Green at this moment, these things can be costly for the Renegades bench, which is normally known for its depth. In fact, Descalzo, as well as a teammate, help out that Renegade who's unable to walk on his own. So he has some good teammates, if not friends there. As we'll try to confirm who exactly that was soon. Oh, that could have been Dylan Woods, actually. It is Dylan Woods. The number 23, not 21. So it's Dylan Woods who goes down from a no-contact injury, judging by his landing. And those are the scariest ones. And Dylan Woods is a very big injury here. We talked about the defensive line being left vulnerable here as a drop ball is issued by the referee. The New Jerseyans win back the ball, of course, with the defensive line left somewhat exposed. It's another question for Boris Linares to answer. Sebastian, back to Milton Campos. Sebastian, left-footed pass. Toldo, who scored the last goal, picking it right before it went past the goal line. Garcia racing. Bejarano able to control, roll it out. Cameron Foberg. Etienne. Foberg's pass interrupted by a rushing Campos. Ball kept alive by Ascension. And he's been doing everything he could for this New Jerseyan team. The pass a little too obvious for Ascension. Garcia gives it to Rosero. Rosero somehow wins back his own ball from a party of three. Rosero, well, with the final touch at the end, looked like it was a foul at first. The referee with a smile on his face indicates that it's halftime here in this quarterfinal matchup. Of course, between the number 1 seed of the Northeast American North Conference, New York Renegades FC, and the number 4 seed of the Northeast American South Conference, Passaic Football Club. 4-0 is the scoreline here after 45 minutes. But of course, stay with us as we present some messages from our sponsors, halftime analysis, and the second half. This is the UPSL on Game in Frame.
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a men's soccer player at San Diego State University and I play forward. The Salt Air Case helps block odor from my cleats when I'm driving in my car or when I'm keeping my cleats inside my house, so I don't have to worry about it stinking up my room. It helps me keep track of my cleats and my shin guards so I know that they're together and I don't have to worry about tracking them down or losing them or stressing out about where they are. I would definitely rock this, walking to the games, walking around to my trainings. And it's super helpful for travel. When I travel in the airport to go to away games, it's not going to stink up my backpack or stink up the plane where I'm sitting. Magnetic strip on the top is super easy to open to take my cleats out and to put my cleats back in. I think it's an essential part of my outfit for soccer and helps keep all my stuff organized and stink-free.
That's the good bit of footwork there by Spalding, who's gone for a spacious shot! It's magnificent by Spalding!
It's, of course, the halftime break, not too long from its conclusion. In fact, just seconds away now. A wink to the camera from Rodrigo Descalzo, who has scored 2 goals to his name, the Argentine, pointing us out here at Game and Frame. Of course, he's been a big, big impact here. It all revolved around finishing, and in fact, when we talk about keys to the game, the New York Renegades just have to keep up what they've been doing earlier. Quick crosses into the penalty area, and it will be the local side that starts the ball rolling. It'll either be Beal to Rosero or Rosero to Beal. However, Rosero in another competition had scored from the halfway line from this sort of situation. So it's toward Rosero, who this time doesn't have any sort of viable path to attempt a 50-yarder perhaps. Though, again, the locals get the ball rolling. The 2 goals, the first ones I should say, being scored by Rodrigo Descalzo, the Argentine, as Passaic Football Club, the 4th seed in the Southern Subconference of the Northeast American Conference, with some energy here as well, driving its way into the final third. The New Jerseyan side recuperating the ball in a favorable spot, not allowing us to really discuss about the keys to the game here. Passaic controlling the ball from the right flank, crossing it along the ground, looking for space, pausing, thinking, shooting as well. Blocked, another opportunity, just saved by Perez. Solid attempt by the New Jerseyan team. Not going down without a fight. 45 more minutes remain here, of course. As this corner kick will be taken by the away side, a short one, a quick one. Nico Petrone, Nico crossing it. No familiar jersey there for the New Jerseyan team. Ali Seluk unable to accurately pull the trigger. Put up into the air. He might have been offside. He was offside. So again, the keys to the game for New York Renegades FC, now that there's finally a pause, is to continue with those quick crosses into the final third. This 4-1-4-1 formation, of course devised by Boris Linares, allows for the explosive speed of Rodrigo Descalzo and company to take advantage. Descalzo crossed, and the goalkeeper just got a piece to it, preventing Rosero his goal. In fact, that would be Rosero's 9th goal of the season. As now Perez backtracks onto his goal line. Cutting it inward. Passaic FC looking for a curler inside the 18-yard box. Well defended by the Renegades. This is a good, lively approach by Passaic. 1 step over, 2 step overs. It's a step over festival as Rodrigo Descalzo was looking for the cross from Sebastián Restrepo, who's otherwise known for his flashy nature on the field. We saw it earlier with his Neymar-like touch to the ahs and oohs of the crowd. Jonathan Calixto playing the ball centrally toward Alejandro Coaquil. Played back at the end. Meanwhile, for Passaic Football Club, it really now does revolve around psychology. Not only do you have to add numbers into the final third, but you must also maintain the mentality of not rendering yourself or not giving up in this match despite the 4-goal disadvantage. But as I had said just moments ago, in order to do so physically on the field, the New Jerseyans must start adding numbers into the final third. There have been too many times in which Sencion, if not Dlabel, were left alone in the final third with nobody to help them out. Unlike this Descalzo situation, playing it toward Rosero. Rosero winning some space. Backtracking, I should say. Rosero. Toldo Rivas, who scored the 4th goal. To Descalzo, who scored the first 2. Descalzo. 1-2s interrupted. Rosero. Garcia, who assisted the first. Everyone who got themselves involved in the first goals in this match getting a piece of the ball. So again, The keys to the game are as follows, as this lob may test the speed of Pachaflores. Throw in for the Renegades. For the local team, it's to continue utilizing the explosive speed along the wings to drive in crosses. Meanwhile, for the away side here, who has the 4-goal disadvantage, it's to continue adding more jerseys, more numbers into the final third to at least shrink that deficit. Oh no, that's gratuitous. Way too gratuitous, a red. The referee, ruthless in that decision. Yellow card for Rosero. And it's a red card for the Uruguayan, Lautaro Sosa Mendoza. Oh, things have gone from bad to worse. You can't be losing your cool like that, especially at such an important stage, let alone match. This is the team's first appearance in the Premier Division postseason. I believe in just its second overall season in the Premier Division as well, which is a feat in its own right. But Lautaro Sosa Mendoza has been expelled from this match, the number 80. Rosero gets booked with a yellow card instead, however. The two teams now have to make sure to control their temper. With one player expelled and one player with a yellow card, I believe those in fact being the first bookings in this game. And we mentioned it's all about psychology. Beal. Cáceres. Pachaflores asking for the pass on the right wing. Descalzo thinking about the hat trick. Descalzo, one-on-one. Descalzo outsmarts the keeper, hits the side netting. Just a little too greedy at the end. He could have gotten a third goal contribution, but instead he was thinking plainly about the third goal, period. Though who could blame him? With Lautaro Sosa Mendoza now absent, Rosero now has a decision to make. Rosero, Descalzo, hat trick, yes! Descalzo with 3 goals to his name. Surely the player of the match. 2 straight home games with multiple goals. And it's his first home hat trick. And at such an important moment in this season, in the quarterfinal, Descalzo makes his name well known here amongst the Long Island crowd. 5-0 is the scoreline. And it looks like Descalzo is hungry for more. You're gonna hat trick for the player from Argentina. And there we have no doubt that goal came as a result of Sosa Mendoza's absence due to his red card. That back line of formerly 4-2-3-1, now just sporting 3 in the backfield. And with Rosero scheming a plan to win so much space from the right flank, it allowed an unoccupied Descalzo to finish it calmly past the goalkeeper in green. Passaic with Dlabel, looking for a response at least. Dlabel out dribbling several. Dlabel, oh, that could have been a goal of the season had he finished it. Several feinted shots later, here comes the Renegades, counterattack. Rosero, Descalzo right behind. Rosero, cross. Sebastian controlling. Descalzo asking for the pass. It's Sebastian, blocked at first. Second block as well. Somewhat of a miracle that it didn't end 6 there. A 3-on-2 situation practically. Although one must admit that the defenders did their job, most notably Cameron Faubourg, I believe. Cameron Faubourg forced into absorbing the shock, as well as shot itself. preventing Bejarano from getting his gloves dirty. Passaic in the final third. Inside the penalty area now, looking for the 5-1. Betis just barely bats it away. Those types of shots are hard to save from the goalkeeping standpoint. When it's trickling along the ground with those very small skips, you have to read it to the very last nanosecond. Betis doing a good job there. Passaic, early cross, Betis intercepts. It's a good idea from Petrone, but nobody was centrally positioned. Garcia. This could be a goal party. Bejarano exits his 18-yard box and turns into a sweeper. So again, if you're just tuning in, Descalzo scored the first 2 goals in very similar fashion. 2 crosses coming from along the ground, and Descalzo will in fact be substituted here, the hat-trick hero. So he will be replaced after scoring the first 2 goals, both toward that far side, or in other words, the Renegades' right-hand side, finishing 2 simple crosses along the ground. The third goal came from a ruthless finish across from Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo, connected with the shotgun leg of Dylan Woods, who was last seen being substituted due to injury. The fourth goal was scored by Toldo Rivas, profiting off a Passaic error in the 18-yard box between a goalkeeper and his defender. And of course, the fifth goal itself being scored by Descalzo yet again, finishing across. In reality, 3 poachers' goals, all about timing. That's really the key to the game here, the theme to the game for the Renegades, as Dlabel was able to outwit 3 defenders, but his last touch a little too strong. Betis, who has replaced Edwards, now with a good idea to play it out toward Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. Played by Justin Linares. Matthews Carriel, the Ecuadorian midfielder, looking for a viable option. It's Sebastián who receives the pass. Ruiz Restrepo back to Milton Campos, who on paper is the holding midfielder, playing it out wide. Pacha Flores controlling with his left shoulder, now with his right foot. Quick feet as well. Pacha racing now for the ball along his right-hand side, the Passaic left-hand side alternatively. Samuel Epitime. Unable to really connect once more with the teammate. It's a forced left-footed touch that results in a Perez goal kick. Giancarlo Perez hails from Colombia. Of course, replacing the Jamaican goalkeeper Eric Edwards. Milton Campos. Campos, switch play. Sebastián, good chest control. Oh, and Sebastián was looking for the 1-2. An audible cry from the Colombian. Well, at the end, the substitutes are making their first appearances here in the postseason. And naturally, a lot of these are making their first appearances overall. The pass way too forced, aimed toward Nico Petrone. And for now, Passaic aiming to avoid a 6th goal conceded. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. Too many touches. Samuel Epitime. Epitime is asking for the pass. Dlabel winning some space. Petrone steering away from one, but not the second. Milton Campos the original threat, re-winning the ball. Again, behind the camera is Marlon Diaz. I am Sean Cabrera, and you are watching the UPSL on Game and Frame, a match that for now has been largely controlled by the local team. Of course, to the joy and jubilation of the local Long Island crowd. The goalkeeper, easy basket catch. Of course, per the Renegades, this past now regular season, now complete of course, was their fourth straight conference regular season championship title. So they're looking to complement that, of course, with another consecutive postseason championship. Carriel, unable to win the aerial duel. Milton Campos, steering back. And one has to imagine that Passaic Football Club is missing some big names like Danny Tobon, the Colombian forward who is the goal leader in the UPSL Northeast American South Conference with 10 to his name. Not featured in today's squad. And including the regular season, this would be the third in 4 matches in which Passaic FC has been shut out by its opposition. As now the orange and blue plays an extended game of keep away. Play toward the right-hand side, Pacha. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla. Angelo, along the right wing, crossing it, 18-yard box, inside, Rosero, left-footed, over the bar. Normally, Rosero is lethal from that range. Though I suppose with his attempt at the weak foot, the away team avoids a concession of a 6th. Remains 5-0 here. Descalzo scoring 3 of those goals notably. Sebastian as well, assisting 2 of them directly. Global with a lot of space. It's a somewhat lackadaisical approach by the back line of the New York Renegades, who understandably have a 5-goal lead, as there's a jersey tug. Epitime goes down, free kick. Right from the penalty arc. Cáceres was almost caught napping there with the jersey tug. So it's an infraction from about 19 yards away from goal. And this would be a way to win one back, as Global is in charge of the set piece. That is a crowded wall. Forget about a wall, that's a whole mural of orange and blue. Currently counting 5. There was at 1.6. So it's a 5 Renegade wall, Global, as well as Sension. It's Global, right-footed, deflected wide. Corner kick for the away team. The barrier doing its job. Along the ground it goes. Petrone, Global would have been onside, but Perez escorts it out of bounds. And as we await some substitutions here, just one for now for the local team, I believe. As Sebastian Restrepo sees curtain calls, his understudy filling in that role. Player that we'll shortly confirm. Do make sure to follow Game in Frame on Instagram at Game in Frame For the latest in Northeast grassroots soccer, Angelo Puerto Quintanilla keeping it alive. Angelo, left-footed drive, continuing inward into the penalty area, trying to stun the goalkeeper to the near post, a surprising decision. He had a lot of orange jerseys otherwise toward the far post, most notably that of, not Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, I should say, it's Pacha Flores. So for now, the goalkeeper with a goal kick, several substitutions in effect for Passaic FC. One of those substitutes, exiting the game I should say, is Ali Selik. So Ali Selik and a teammate exit the game. As Epitime asks for the pass, instead drawn centrally, way too obvious, easy read for the Renegades. Milton Campos to Puerto Quintanilla. Carriel, the Ecuadorian, finding Justin Linares. Linares' dribble interrupted. Cáceres, who unsurprisingly now has the captain's armband. Carriel toward Campos. Campos takes his time. In fact, the Renegades are playing a lot less aggressively post red card, post Descalzo hat trick. Now let's recall Descalzo has been substituted. And I must emphasize that despite this 5-0 scoreline, there's two important things to take into account here, especially if you're a Passaic supporter. One is that this is the team's first postseason appearance in the Premier Division, which is a feat all in its own right, as that cross goes wide. Countless teams have spent numerous seasons in the Premier Division and have never even got a sniff of playoff action. Meanwhile, Passaic has been able to do that in just its second Premier Division season. That's one thing to take into account, and it's a big, big positive. Secondly, it's equally paramount to realize that the New York Renegades themselves are the top seed of the Northeast American North Conference for a reason, as Dlabel is offside by a mile. I don't think he realized it, but OJ kept him offside as Perez, for a moment, was down on the ground. He's still kneeling for a moment. A little slow to get up. No injury scare nor pause there. Continuing with the aforementioned point, Passaic is playing against the Renegades, the number one team of the Northeast American North Conference. Perhaps a team that is considered amongst the title favorites not only in this conference postseason, but in the entire country's postseason. Again, this team has eyes on nationwide glory in the UPSL overall trophy. And last season, tonight's locals were so close to that. It was a surprising loss to Bridge Sports Club that shut down those dreams. However, if this sort of tempo is maintained, as well as style of play, then the Renegades may accomplish that dream now that it's currently playing in its 5th straight postseason. Carriel toward Milton Campos. Pacha Flores in the driver's seat. Rosero with a decision to make. Lobs it delicately. Linares, no, instead it's a gorgeous finish. 6-0 is the scoreline in the 70th minute. 20 more minutes of action. The Renegades, from another play, just simply out of nothing, Rosero with a delicate lob. As we confirm who truly finished that, Linares was close, but it wasn't him. He let that ball go astutely. for now 6-0. Rosero assisting now 2 goals. It was Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla that scored the 6th goal, the number 25. Though you do have to give Justin Linares some credit, not touching the ball, being marked by 1 perhaps, allowing his teammate to get the finish and the goal, Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla, who had entered the game to replace Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo. So every winger has gotten at least a goal contribution to his name here. Left-footed lob. He's onside according to the assistant referee. Perez pounces on it like a puma. Fantastic goalkeeping. And practically ruthless as well inside his own penalty area. Campos. Toward Cáceres. And the goals just won't stop here from the Renegades. It's a 6-0 show. This is coming from the same team that also beat its opponent in the postseason at this stage, I believe 8-0. Cáceres winning the challenge. Linares, quick poke with the right foot. Carriel, a lot of space. Goalkeeper sliding right in time, making that sweeping look so easy, but in reality, it's magnificent defending and goalkeeping. Epitime. Dlabel, poked forward, lots of traffic. The Big 12 clearing it away. So in this half, Descalzo completed his hat trick. Rosero found his second assist as well when Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla scored goal number 6. And Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla looking to return the favor now that Rosero's toward the far post. Though it's cleared away by Faubourg. A race along the right-hand side. Momentarily slowed down as Perez now receives the back pass. Perez praying that he could also go another 45 minutes straight without conceding a goal. Just like his goalkeeping predecessor right before him, Eric Edwards. A foul in favor of Passaic FC. Drawn by Epitime. So Epitime won't be taking the free kick. Instead, that's Nico Petrone's job. Dlabel also isn't too far away. A 2 Renegade wall is assembled by Perez, consisting of Justin Linares alongside Pacha Flores. Dlabel would be the target man in the middle portion just outside the 6-yard box, although he's heftily guarded by Cáceres. Left-footed cross. Passaic did win back the ball for a moment before Cáceres ejects that ball from his penalty area. Faubourg with the volleyed clearance gives it right back. Pacha Flores crosses the halfway line with that switch play. That's a beautiful ball. Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla with a clever little back pass as well. Roughly a quarter hour remains here. 6-0 is the scoreline. Cáceres toward goal for Passaic. It's raining goals here at this moment. Home field advantage clearly on display from the Renegades. A left-footed through pass. And at this point, Epitime may be a bit out of juice. He and Sension have been really busy. But unfortunately, due to some solid Renegade defending, not to mention the red card disadvantage itself, there's not a lot of help for either winger, who's consistently, or I should say, who are consistently looking for some reinforcement. Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla, offside. I don't imagine by much, but the assistant referee got a much better angle at that. No controversial call otherwise. Passaic, perhaps targeting for that silver lining in the form of a goal. Though it's already difficult enough to score a goal against New York Renegades FC at home, it's a task close to impossible. In fact, that's why it was such a feat, I should say, for New York Empire FC, who found that 1-1 draw earlier this regular season versus New York Renegades FC. The only non-win result at home for the locals, as this is a deadly giveaway. The Renegades could be punished here, but too many touches result in a retreat. Perez, near post basket catch. Wasting no time. A dagger volley. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla helping out his brother here, Mauricio. Mauricio lining up, looking for the top corner. Still wide at the end. He could have finished that one time. His first touch could have been a shot. He planted his feet, planted the ball, and took his time. That could have very well have been 7. Quick passes, quick turn as well. Chopping inward. That's Ricardo Messam. Giveaway, Rosero. And this is maybe the last man you want on the ball, especially with this disadvantage. Rosero, with 2 assists to his name, can also tally a goal. 3 goal contributions for Rosero. 2 assists and 1 goal. It's an emphatic 7-0 lead. Calm toward the far post. A destined laser beam. Rosero now with goal number 9 in the overall season. Combining, of course, the regular season and the playoffs here. Rosero in the regular season was second in terms of goals scored with 8. As now Passaic FC restarts this match. Messam plays it back. Messam overlapping. Dlabel decides to put this one into the air toward the right-hand side where Alejandro Sension is waiting. Sension, whose name hasn't been mentioned too much here in the second half, dribbling forward, looking for an assist. Epitime, unable to complete it. Again, there are hardly a good number of jerseys there. Unlike this situation with Angelo Puerto Quintanilla, who's rocking the orange and blue. Ball at his feet. Last touch just too strong. An 11-on-11 battle. It's a quick retreat from Ricardo Messam. Dlabel keeps it in play with that good touch. Dlabel. Through pass, using the outside part of his foot, finding his number 10, Epitime. Perez can collect it. And this is arguably how the sixth goal was generated from that Perez strike. Oh, Mauricio. He is ravenous alongside the rest of the frontline members. It's an easy cross. Rosero, second goal to his name. A very lightly celebrated goal. 2 consecutive goals for the Colombian. 4 goal contributions in this entire fixture. 2 assists, 2 goals. Perhaps thinking of taking away that unofficial Man of the Match award that would have otherwise been awarded to Descalzo. It's 8-0. Very familiar territory for the Renegades. And Lautaro Sosa Mendoza's absence clearly affecting this entire team. A 4-5 goal disadvantage is already a monstrous hill to climb. But on 2 occasions, from my, I suppose, soccer watching career, if not soccer broadcasting, to mix those two, I've almost seen it happen. Before we could expand upon that, Rosero, left-footed touch, right-footed win back. Mauricio, racing for the ball. Not enough gas in the tank to win it. From my personal career, at least, broadcasting that is, I recall not too long ago in which Cornell University had a 5-0 advantage versus Harvard. From the first half, may I add. However, in the second half, Harvard did make the Cornellians sweat quite a bit with a 5-4 full-time scoreline. We had seen a similar piece of action in the UEFA Nations League as well between Spain and France this year. Spain with a hefty lead on France, controlling the possession stats amongst other facets of the game. I believe had a 5-1 lead at one point, if not 4-1 lead, but even at that, when you have such a hefty lead against such an opponent, you don't often let it escape your hands. However, the Spaniards nearly did so. But I mention these matches again because Lautaro Sosa Mendoza got a red card when it was 5-0 as he lost his temper. That shot easily blocked by Cáceres. And Sosa Mendoza, unfortunately for him, played a very vital role to this team, considering that he was one of the players in charge of guarding his own third. A key defender. So the Renegades have capitalized thrice off the expulsion of Sosa Mendoza. The Renegades now looking to keep a clean sheet. Perez has been kept surprisingly busy in the second half, unlike Eric Edwards, who I don't believe even had a save as he's offside. Not by much, may I add. Perez. Carriel. Justin Linares. Rosero. Rosero rolls away from one. Rosero pushes forward, thinking about the hat-trick, accelerates, and has someone interrupt his dribble. That was Messam doing his job. Carriel. Another 10-on-10 battle as Carriel beats Epitime. Angelo Puerto Quintanilla taking his time. A left-footed inward push. Milton Campos was thinking about lighting it up. He does, in fact. And those are some solid hands from the netminder Bejarano. as he rolls it out. The crowd clearly satisfied now with the result. That is, if you're a local supporter. And here comes Passaic. Giancarlo Perez had it all under control, just barely wide. Not a bad attempt, a respectable one. That was just inches wide in reality. Of course, tomorrow at high noon, a dramatic duel for the American Premier Soccer League national final will take place. This one from way downtown. Easy pickings for the goalkeeper. This match, just like today, will be broadcast exclusively here on Game in Frame, your home for grassroots soccer. Quick chip as he heads it away so casually. Almost having fun with it as well. Evading one challenge, controlling with the chest. Playing it forward with the decision to make, lines it up. That could have been 8-1. A last second deviation, I believe off the calf of a Renegade. That could have been Linares. There was a sea of orange in there, it wasn't too obvious. But I'll give Linares for now the credit of a blocked shot. Glabel, using the outside part of his foot, cleared away. Messam brings it down with the right foot. Epitime. Epitime. Thinking about the 1-2. Oh, too much time burnt. Had he connected with Epitime faster, that could have been the silver lining. It's still the opposition that has ball time. Epitime. And a roulette turn away draws an infraction. As we find ourselves within the final 3 minutes here, I don't imagine the arbitration staff giving so much stoppage time. Rosero. Onside, according to the assistant referee. Rosero for the hat trick. Tries to thunderstrike it into the near post's upper 90. Inches above the bar. Descalzo with the only distinction of scoring a hat trick in this match. Not too many players, especially in the Renegades history, that is in the postseason, can say that they have a hat trick at this stage. That being said, Descalzo can now say he's one of them. Perez, that's a really risky back pass. Perez with some calm nerves as Glabel was following him. Switch play. And this is where the flanks are exposed. In fact, going back to the keys to the game, we did mention about how New York Renegades should continue using the widths of the field to generate those quick crosses. And that comment aged even better, I should add, as Lautaro Sosa Mendoza got his red card in charge of guarding the flanks. Rosero denied a third assist. Now it's a corner kick here as we find ourselves within the final 65 seconds and counting. Linares spots this ball. Driven back. Carriel. Carriel. Layoff. Way too strong of a shot there. And of course, I'd like to remind you before this match closes that this broadcast has been brought to you by Salt Athletic. Salt Athletic has made the Air Case, the world's freshest, most advanced cleat bag that blocks smell by using antimicrobial technology that makes for odor-free car rides and houses. Salt Athletic is offering the Game and Frame community an exclusive discount, so scan the QR code on your screen to get 10% off and keep it fresh. Giancarlo Perez, the Colombian goalkeeper, who for now can rest easy knowing that he also got himself a partial clean sheet here, in his 45 minutes of action. Quick lob, Rosero! How did that one not end up in the back of the net? Knowing Rosero's lethality in front of goal, more times often than not, that's a hat trick completer right there. A novelty of a miss. Though it's not like it's the worst thing in the world for Rosero. 2 goals, 2 assists, not too shabby for the Colombian, to say the least. And of course, the final touch of the ball as well. And after 90 minutes of UPSL quarterfinal action here in the Northeast American Conference, it's an emphatic victory for New York Renegades FC. Again, the Renegades win 8-0 versus its New Jerseyan visitor, Passaic Football Club, who has made its first appearance in the Premier Division postseason as of today. But if one is able to enter this stage of the competition, thanks to a draw, thanks to a win, thanks to a single point in the regular season, then that could be a sign of better things to come, especially when taking into account the young age or average age of this New Jerseyan squad. So again, the Renegades win 8-0, but do stay tuned for some post-match action here in Long Island, New York. You are watching the United Premier Soccer League Premier Division right here on Game in Frame.
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a men's soccer player at San Diego State University and I play forward. The salt air case helps block odor from my cleats when I'm driving in my car or when I'm keeping my cleats inside my house, so I don't have to worry about it stinking up my room. It helps me keep track of my cleats and my shin guards so I know that they're together and I don't have to worry about tracking them down or losing them or stressing out about where they are. I would definitely rock this, walking to the games, walking around to my trainings. And it's super helpful for travel. When I travel in the airport to go to away games, it's not going to stink up my backpack or stink up the plane where I'm sitting. Magnetic strip on the top is super easy to open to take my cleats out and to put my cleats back in. I think it's an essential part of my outfit for soccer and it helps keep all my stuff organized and stink-free.
That's the good bit forward there by Spalding. It's gone for a spacious shot! It's magnificent by Spalding!
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a men's soccer player at San Diego State University and I play forward. The Salt Air Case helps block odor from my cleats when I'm driving in my car or when I'm keeping my cleats inside my house, so I don't have to worry about it stinking up my room. It helps me keep track of my cleats and my shin guards so I know that they're together and I don't have to worry about tracking them down or losing them or stressing out about where they are. I would definitely rock this, walking to the games, walking around to my trainings. And it's super helpful for travel. When I travel in the airport to go to away games, it's not going to stink up my backpack or stink up the plane where I'm sitting. Magnetic strip on the top is super easy to open to take my cleats out and to put my cleats back in. I think it's an essential part of my outfit for soccer and helps keep all my stuff organized and stink-free.
That's a good bit of footwork there by Spalding. It's gone for a spacious shot! It's magnificent by Spalding!
So live here from Long Island, New York, it's the local Renegades that get the monstrous 8-0 victory versus Passaic FC. Alongside me first is the man who got 2 assists to his name. It's Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo. Sebastián, felicitaciones con esas 2 asistencias. Tenemos que hablar de la importancia hoy de las bandas y cómo ustedes las utilizaron hoy. ¿Podrías describir, por favor, qué tan importante fue esa estrategia?
Bueno, creo que es el fuerte de Renegade, que nos caracterizamos mucho porque tenemos jugadores por las bandas que en el 1 contra 1 son muy fuertes y pues nada, hoy el partido salió excelente por las bandas y creo que fuimos muy contundentes a la hora de las asistencias, de los goles, entonces nada, fue un partido bueno y disfrutarlo, la verdad fue más disfrutarlo, que sabemos que el sábado viene un partido difícil y nada, seguir con la misma actitud y ganar lo que viene.
So, of course, I congratulated him on his assists, firstly, his 2 assists registered in this game. I asked him to describe the importance of utilizing the extremities, the widths of the field. And to that, Sebastián tells me that this team, fortunately, has a lot of squad depth when it comes to players who are talented in one-on-one situations, especially when it comes to attacking on the wings. Likewise, though, he wants to say, or he mentioned, I should say, that the players, especially toward the very end, were starting to relish instead the game itself, starting to enjoy it, have fun along the wings, especially with such a scoreline going higher and higher in terms of number in favor of the Renegades. It was all about having fun at the very end with this convincing performance at the very end, and with the upcoming match, now the UPSL Northeast American Conference semifinal coming up. Felicitaciones, Sebastián. Cuídate. And of course, the man who wore the captain's armband in the first half and was a key factor in keeping the clean sheet in this victory. It's OJ Bedward, Big 12, clearly indicating why he's the Big 12 as I stand right next to him. OJ, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the defensive strategy when it came to holding order, maintaining it in your own backfield. How were you guys able to do it tactically against perhaps this very lively young squad?
Well, first and foremost, we have to give God thanks for everything. We practice, our defensive shape very well, throughout the sessions. And, we just went in the game with confidence, knowing that we have a strong back line, and, we just move forward from there.
And a strong backline was clearly indicated. Clean sheet again, here at home. How does that really move the team forward into the semifinal?
Well, it gives us a lot of confidence going into the semifinals. We know that the next game is going to be tougher, so we're, prepared and focused for it, and looking forward for a good test also.
Fair enough there. OJ, congratulations on the victory, and I'm wearing the captain's armband in the first half. Very important there. Actually, maybe that's one final thing I want to ask you. What did it feel like to wear the captain's armband there?
Well, it's always an honor, to wear the captain's armband for the team. I've been here for 5 years, so that speak volume, so, it's really an honor. And we have a good bunch of guys also here too, so it's very good.
Okay, thank you very much, OJ. Sorry for that. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
And of course, we have next Junior Rosero, responsible for 4 goal contributions, according to our count, 2 assists, 2 goals. Let's talk also about how you were able to change every now and then your playmaking ability, not only from the central sides, but also from the widths. What was discussed there amongst you and your teammates?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great contribution to the team, a great team effort. At the end of the day, I'm that target forward, but at the end of the day, it's one of those where the defense is going to be on me, right? We're going to have 2 or 3 guys on me, so it's going to leave gaps open. And at the end of the day, it's my job. Even if I don't score, at least I contribute, by, having space be made and then everybody else coming through. So I'm happy that we were able to have the opportunities to get the goals.
I think another important factor here to take into account is composure. It's no secret that obviously you were involved, unfortunately, in that red card situation with Passaic. So how important was it for you to maintain your cool, or perhaps how did you even do it, especially when that sort of gratuitous slash happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of after the play happened, I was kind of walking away and he slaps my head. So, I mean, at that moment you kind of want to retaliate, but then I was hoping he would, get the red naturally, but I kind of, if you see the clip, I kind of take a deep breath and just walk away, and I was able to, just cool off.
And that's exactly why you're a locker room leader there for the New York Renegades themselves. So congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
And on the 4 goal contributions. Again, 2 goals and 2 assists. Congratulations.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. And this wouldn't be complete, of course, without the hat-trick hero himself, Descalzo, who scored 3 goals in approximately 50 minutes or so. Let's talk about the first half. 2 goals. It's an exhilarating lead. What changed perhaps at halftime?
No, nothing changed at halftime. We have the mentality here in Renegades that we are going to be going after the team that we have in front every single minute, every single game. So in the halftime, we talked with the coach, and the coach told us, guys, I know we are in a 4-0 lead, but we need more, we want more, we are Renegades, and we are going always after the teams that we have in front. Because I think that the best way to respect the other team is never to stop.
Now, you said it yourself. The team wanted more, but you specifically wanted more. Hat-trick complete in the second half. How did that feel, completing that pass from Junior Rosero?
Yeah, it felt brilliant because the last game I want to score also, and I couldn't score. Hopefully, thanks God, I made 3 assists, but I couldn't score, and I'm a guy that loves to score. So here, scoring 3 goals in the playoffs and helping the team to go to the next round, it was beautiful.
And we also have to mention the fact that this was your first postseason or playoffs hat trick. So we do have to extend a big congratulations to you there. Now, how does this affect your mentality now that you have 2 home games in a row in which you have multiple goals to your name?
I live the soccer like game by game. So whenever the next game started, I'm gonna leave this aside, and I'm gonna focus only in that game. We are gonna leave everything in the field, and hopefully I can contribute the team with goals, with assists, with whatever. But yeah, hopefully I can contribute like I'm doing it in the past games.
Well, I'm sure if you're a believer of form or a believer of patterns, that is very likely to happen here at home, considering that the Renegades are in fact the top seed. Rodrigo, congratulations on the 3 goals. And of course, on this, on this 8-0 victory, you helped it make it 5. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Of course, take care.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, coach and president himself, Boris Linares, 8-0. Not the first time we have seen this result from the New York Renegades in the playoffs. So what's it like for a second year in a row, now that I think about our second season, I should say, in a row, to get this result?
I mean, it's just the focus. The focus is just to put them away as quickly as possible, get the goals fast. And it came out, we missed 2 early ones too. Our focus was our young team, and we felt like if we just, put the tempo up high and press them high and, try to make them make some mistakes, and it worked out for us, and the plan came through. And I did tell them, don't let up, because you don't show the other team respect by doing that, and the head coach, I love him, he's good. I mean, it's a good organization. They've only been on it for 3 years, so they're doing good stuff over there. I mean, I reviewed some of the film I found, and I said we cannot fall asleep on any team, So they made the playoffs, and they're here, so they earned it. But no, it wasn't trying to be cocky. It was just trying to, better ourselves in the way, execute a little bit better. Everybody was giving us trouble this season with, throwing themselves back, but I told you I was going to unleash a new scheme, and you saw it.
Yes.
So it was effective. I saved it for the playoffs, and thankfully, it was fruitful what we did on the field. I'm not going to say more about it. Let them figure that out, what we did. But that's the whole point. Is like, we go through the season, we see what we have to work on, and then once we knew we were in the playoffs, and then secured the home field advantage throughout the whole playoffs. I've said, okay, now we're going to institute what we've been practicing, because we were practicing on it. And thankfully it came out. It was fruitful, But, I just want to thank everybody, the guys who work hard all week. We work. I want to thank, my family back home, my family who helps organize everything here. It becomes chaos. And, shout out to it was very busy this weekend. We had 2 championships with our U19 and U15 champions, the Northeast. So they're going to go down to Virginia, to play on that side. And the U13, being that they, were regular season champions, are also going to be participants. So it was a good week. It was a good week for us, the focus. And now, the spotlight goes on to the Premier now. And we're going to try to replicate what the kids did, So that's the whole. That's what we try to do, and I guess they're trying to tell us something, right, to get out. But like I said, it's just one of those things that I know next week is going to be. I already know the opponent is Empire. I think they won in overtime, so congratulations to them. So it should be a very fun event, a fun time next week. So I invite everybody to come and see some good football out here. And, it's going to be competitive. I know the first time we tied them 1-1, but, listen, that's what it is. It gets harder as we go along. So let's see what happens next week. But, we're in our intent, and we're focused, and I think we're now peaking at the right time. So that's all. I feel that we are peaking. We had some injuries during the game, but hopefully it's nothing too serious that we can bounce back on. Just want to shout out my father over there back home, who's a little sick over there in Florida, and my sister and my mom for, taking care of him, letting me do what I do here. So I just want to send that shout out to my dad over there, and my mom. Love you. And, we got work to do. You knew our goals from the beginning. Our goals are to win a championship, and I'm not talking about just the Northeast. I'm talking about the national. That's our focus, And that's not, again, it's no disrespect to any team. It's just that's what we want. That's what we feel. That's what we want as a team, as a family that we are, and that's what we're going for.
Voracious, hungry, ravenous for more, the New York Renegades, who must take it one step at a time, as now in the semifinal, per the words of Coach Boris Linares, will face New York Empire FC in what should be an electric rematch. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.
Thank you. See you next
Take
week.
care.
Thank you.
So again, the final scoreline here is 8-0 between the New York Renegades and their Passaic FC opponents. The first 2 goals scored by Descalzo from crosses. Dylan Woods scoring the third in spectacular fashion, really unleashing pure power with an assist from Sebastián Ruiz Restrepo to make it 3. Meanwhile, the 4-0 goal was scored by Toldo Rivas, capitalizing on an error. The 5th goal completed the hat-trick for the Argentine himself, Descalzo, who walks away right now, of course, with a big smile on his face. The 6th goal, it was just pure rains after that. I believe it was Mauricio Puerto Quintanilla. And the last 2 goals completed by Junior Rosero for the 8-0 scoreline. Again, New York Renegades 8, Passaic FC 0. Behind the camera has been Marlon Diaz. I have been Sean Cabrera, and we thank you for tuning into this transmission of the United Premier Soccer League on Game and Frame.
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a